We are here today for philosophy, for science, for art, for all the artists whose art has been stolen online by AI, and answer the question, can a human artist beat AI? Now, if you're new here, I'm a spoken word poet, and in this video, I am going to be battling Canva's new AI poetry generator. This is not sponsored, and I have asked my followers on TikTok and Instagram to give me prompts to put into this generator. How this is going to work is I'm going to give myself 2 minutes to write poems based on these prompts, and afterwards I will put those same prompts into the generator and we can see what it comes up with. And to make sure this isn't just like, my poem is better, it automatically wins, I am going to be judging each of the poems side by side based on 3 categories related to use of language. So, first one, how creative is the use of language? Like, how poetic does it feel? The second one is originality, which I feel like is especially important for an AI generator because, girl, if it sounds like something I've read before, what's the point? And 3, which I think is particularly important for poetry, is emotion. Does the poetry actually make you feel something? Because in my opinion, that is literally the whole point of poetry. So let's start with this first prompt from Jamie, who is also a lovely book talk creator, by the way, if you want to check them out. Emotions at the bottom of the sea. 2 minutes, start now. Ooh, I feel so vulnerable right now, but let's read what I wrote. You see those rocks over there? Yeah, the ones shining like emerald because the sunlight snuck in all the way through to the bottom of the seabed and made itself a name in a place it shouldn't have been able to reach. Yeah, they're yours. Rock bottoms, collected and nestled into a home. They could have washed up onto the shore and found their way into someone's home and then someone smashed windows, but no, instead you chose to keep them here, safely, with you. Girl, I'm gonna give myself 9 out of 10 for emotion. It's a little bit cheesy, but if that didn't make you feel something, don't lie to me, I know it made you feel something. And then for originality, I'm actually quite proud of this. I'm gonna give myself an 8 out of 10. It definitely sounds like a mixture of a lot of contemporary like button poetry stuff with a little bit of romanticism. It's not the most original in the world, but I'm still pretty proud of that. And then in terms of creativity of language, I like how I've played on the whole like rock bottom like concept, which I feel like is pretty creative, so I'm gonna give myself an 8 out of 10. It's not groundbreaking, but I'm actually very proud of this and I might develop it into a full poem. So 9 plus 8 plus 8.
I didn't go to school for math.
Alright, so overall, that's 25 out of 30. Not bad. Let's see what the generator comes up with. Ooh, I've never actually used this before, so let's see how this works. Okay, what if I say generate a poem about emotions at the bottom of the sea? Ooh! Oh girl, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stanzas. I'm trying to figure out what kind of poem this is. I think it could either, it's sort of like a sestina, which I originally thought because it's 6 stanzas, but now I'm wondering if it's a quatrain. I don't think it's a sonnet. Let's read it either way. In the abyss, where light dares not dwell, beneath waves that above so calmly swell, lies a world of emotions, deep and true, a hidden realm beneath the ocean's blue. Here in the quiet of the ocean floor, feelings stir where sunlight reaches no more. Ooh, so they've kind of gotten that bit, like my poem. Joy and sorrow in darkness intervene. Joy and sorrow in darkness intertwine? Is that a real word? Where sea's heart beats in a rhythm divine. Anger roars like the currents fierce and wild, while peace floats as gentle as a child. Love glimmers in the deep, a precious pearl. Around it, the water's embrace does swirl. Fear lurks in the shadows vast and unknown, yet hope shines in the deep sea's quiet tone. A beacon for dreams that sink then rise like bubbles reaching for the surface skies. So again, a very similar concept to me in the idea of like emotions being at the bottom, but there's some glimmer of hope. In the depths, where secrets lie asleep, emotions in their purest form do keep, a world beneath waves, where feelings run deep, in the ocean's heart, where the silent weep. So next time you gaze upon the sea so wide, remember the emotions that inside it hide, for beneath the surface, calm and serene, lies a world of feelings, unseen, uncleaned. Damn. So I think in terms of emotion, this did not make me feel very much until the final stanza. So I'm gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. Originality. This definitely sounds like a romantic poem. Like, I think what's interesting about AI here is that it's clearly taken from poetry that is already available on the internet, most of which is poetry that is out of copyright, so it's going to be older poetry. In terms of originality, I'm going to give it like a 6 out of 10. In terms of creativity, the language was not creative at all, so I am going to give that a 6 out of 10. And don't worry, I'm not going to set a precedent of hating every single poem that the AI puts out. Like, I actually want to give it a fair shot, so let's see. Okay, so the AI poem gets a 17 out of 30. So for that round, I do feel like I won in terms of originality and creativity, because I think my concept was a little bit better. Next is a very spring themed prompt. Hanami petals form a river of pink, from Alia. Thank you, Alia. Okay, so let's set the timer again and start. Okay, I'm not super proud of what I've written, but I'm going to read it anyways. Because sometimes that's what being human's all about, isn't it? We just do it even if we're not 100% sure. Beautiful women. I like hanami petals, says the uncle, sucking on a pipe. They look pretty, but their beauty only lasts for a short time. You might be drawn in by the pinks of their cheeks, but be careful to not follow the petals, for you may find yourself drowning in a river of pink. If you don't watch Avatar The Last Airbender, as you can tell, that was 1000% inspired by Uncle Iroh, because for some reason, 2 images come to mind when I hear of sakura petals. The first one is Aura in High School Host Club. The second one is Uncle Iroh. Now let's put the prompt into the generator and see what she comes up with. So if we say, generate me a poem about hanami petals forming a river of pink. I'm actually going to leave the ellipsis in and see if that gives it a slightly ominous tone, like mine as well, to better mirror it. Ooh, okay, so interesting thing to note here already is that the form is exactly the same, except it's shorter. If it's 4 stanzas, I think this is actually a quain. I don't know what it's called. A quatrain. You can tell how often I use form. So it says, beneath a sky so clear and vast, where spring whispers in hues amust, a river forms not of water, but dreams. Okay, I'm liking this. Of hanami petals in soft pink streams. They dance and flutter in the gentle breeze, a ballet of blossoms aiming to please, carpeting the earth with a tender embrace, nature's own artwork defined by grace. This river of pink, under the sun's warm kiss, brings to the heart a tranquil bliss. For a moment in time under cherry blossom trees, we float on petals, carried by ease. In this spectacle, beauty and serenity converge, as petals form a river and emotions surge. A reminder of life, fleeting and sweet, in hanami's embrace, where heart and nature meet. I am actually slightly flawed by this poem because I think there is so much here to work with. Okay, so my poem, I think in terms of emotions, it's not that emotional. It's more like a narrative kind of poem, but even then, I know myself, the narrative's not that strong, so I'm gonna give myself a 6 out of 10 for emotion. Originality, I quite liked the fact that I didn't go the immediate route of like hanami in nature. So I'm actually going to give myself an 8 out of 10 for the concept. In terms of creativity, the language not that creative. I feel like I'm just copying Uncle Iroh to be very harsh on myself, so I'm going to give myself a 7. So I'm giving this one 21 out of 30 for me. For the AI poem, I think this is quite interesting because in terms of originality, the concept isn't that original, but the way they've used language is quite creative. A lot of the imagery is really nice. I really like carpeting the earth with a tender embrace. Nature's own artwork come through. The last line is also nice, where heart and nature meet. That's really cute. But what I think is quite interesting, if we compare this line and this line, they're almost the same. It's about reminders of emotions. And so I don't know if that means the AI, like, we need to deduct points there. It's interesting that those are the two ways that it has rounded poems. So I think in terms of emotions, it's quite a nice poem. It makes you feel all warm inside and gives you that feeling of like, ah yes, like you are Uncle Iroh sitting there watching the petals fall. So I'll give it one more point than me. I think it gets 7 out of 10. In terms of originality, like I said, the concept isn't that original, so I'll give it a 6. But creativity of language, I am actually quite impressed by, so I'm gonna give it a 9. So that's 22 out of 30. So actually in this round, the AI has technically won. So I'm gonna go for the next prompt, which is sitting on a London bus at midnight. And girl, this is where personal experience comes in handy when you're writing poetry. Do I have a lot of experience of the night bus? Absolutely. Is it where I have almost thought I was going to die multiple times? Absolutely. And no AI can take those precious memories from me. So let's put them in a poem. So in this poem, I basically wrote my internal monologue, which is this. I'm going to die. Death, death, death. I'm going to die. Die, die, die. I'm going to get mugged, mugged, mugged. I'm going to get assaulted, assaulted, assaulted. I'm going to... Wow. The top seat's worth it. The sky's dark embrace wraps around the window. And the lights are like twinkling stars. Beauty, beauty, beauty. I'm going to make it home. Now for the generator's turn. Okay, you know what? To make sure that this one isn't the same as the other ones and it more similarly mimics my writing, I'm gonna specify free verse. Okay, so interestingly, I asked for the poem to be free verse, and it still looks quite tightly formed. Let's read through it. In the heart of London, under a sky so vast, I sit on a bus as midnight has just passed. So similar structure, got the rhyming couplets here. The world outside whispers in tones so low, a city that sleeps yet alive with a soft glow. Another rhyming couplet. I think we know where this is going. Streetlights flicker, casting shadows that dance on paths walked by many, given to chance. Buildings tower, silent sentinels of the night, watching over the city until the morning light. I press my face against the cool glass. That gives me like the image of SpongeBob pushing his face against the glass. Observing life as it quietly passes, the bus hums a lullaby so sweet, rocking gently the city at my feet. Passengers few, lost in thought or dream, faces illuminated by the occasional screen. We share this journey yet alone in our minds, each with destinations, our own tales intertwined. Through the window, the Thames glides beneath, a silver ribbon, a mystery sheathed. London's heart beats steady and slow, in the embrace of night a hidden glow. As the bus turns, the world shifts slightly, revealing new scenes so vividly, so brightly, a moment in time captured on this ride, in the quiet of midnight with London as my guide. Okay, so I'm glad at least in the last two lines it's not about like, remember that when you do this, it's this, like in the last two poems. But I am actually floored by the fact that I specified free verse and it's still done like rhyming couplets in a very structured poem. And again, there is a point to be said here about like, has an AI ever been on a London bus? No. And a lot of the times the reason poetry makes you feel things is because you are connecting with another human, usually about some kind of shared experience. The part that's probably the most emotional is the part where they talk about like the passengers being lost in thought. We share this journey yet alone in our minds, but like, welcome to London, that's everywhere in London. And honestly, as a Londoner, this is a bit too idyllic. I'm not here for it. So let's get down to the rankings. So in terms of emotions, I'm literally gonna give this like a 3 out of 10. It didn't make me feel anything. And as a Londoner, No. Originality, I do think it's weird that they say, I sit on a bus as midnight has just passed. You are not a person. It's not that original. It sounds like something a primary school child could have written, so I'm also gonna give that like a 3. Creativity, the concept isn't that creative, and like there isn't really much original imagery. So you know what, I'm also just gonna give it a 3. So that one gets a 9, not off to a great start. With my poem, I think there's a lot of strong emotions in there. In terms of how emotive it made me feel, it's not a lot because I feel like the timer got to the point where I wanted to do the turn in the poem and get to the emotional core of it, so I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10. In terms of originality, I quite liked the repetition, and in terms of creativity, I thought doing it that way, like you're mirroring intrusive thoughts, was quite good, but it's not too original. I feel like I'm also gonna give it like a 6. And then for creativity, you know what, we've done similar, I'm just gonna give it like a 6 as well. So I'll give myself an 18 for that one. And it was at this point my camera decided to die. The final prompt was the showdown to end all showdowns. I saved the best to last, and let me tell you why, because the prompt is, what does it mean to be human? And yeah, no pressure here, I just need to describe exactly what it means to be human versus an AI that has the infinite power of the internet at its fingertips versus my little brain. But actually, if I'm gonna be vulnerable here for a second, I have been thinking about this topic a lot because, in case you don't know, I recently made a very big career switch in my life and have been going through quite a turbulent period of mental health, and I have been thinking a lot about what it means to exist and what it means to be a human. So hopefully I got it right. This is what I wrote. Obviously you don't see the cute montage of me writing, but this is it. To be human is to love. To hold creations in your hands and go, I made that, only for your best friend to accidentally smash it the next day. To be human is to cry about it. To be human is learning how to let yourself cry in the first place. To lift the weight off your chest. To be human is to pass that weight over to friends and ask them to help you carry it to bed. To eat it as chocolate chunks in cookie dough ice cream. To pass it over to the childhood cartoons. To sleep with it. And to do it again tomorrow. And I was actually quite nervous about this one, but this is what the AI came up with. In the vast expanse of time and space, where stars are born and leave no trace, there lies a question deep and true. What does it mean to be human through and through? To be human is to laugh, to cry, to wonder at the stars in the sky. It's to feel the weight of love and loss, to carry hope no matter the cost. Ooh, it is weird that the AI has also put to feel the weight of something and also included love. Marking down originality points for that one for me and the AI. It's the art of dreams in the dead of night, the courage to stand up for what's right. It's the scars we wear, both seen and unseen. Girl, who is we? You're not part of this, who is we? The stories we tell and what they mean. To be human is to learn and grow, to seek the answers we may never know, to hold another's hand in the dark, to kindle the flame from a single spark. It's the melody in a wordless song, the place where all our hearts belong. It's the beauty found in each face, the boundless diversity of our human race. So here's to the joy, the tears, the laughter, to the moments now and those hereafter. To be human is to live, to love, to try, under the vast, unending sky. Now, when I was looking at the homepage for the poetry generator, right, Canva had an option that said something like, generate me a poem for an advert. And this is an advert poem mixed with a Coldplay song. And you can't convince me otherwise. And it's quite interesting because I think this is looking at humanity from like a bird's eye view, like a top-down view, rather than like a first-person perspective of their experience of being human. And I think that is key. That is what we as humans can bring to poetry, to bring to writing, that AI cannot. Like, it all feels a little bit soulless, which is interesting because I haven't actually felt that about the other poems so far. They could pass as other poems. So, in the breakdown of scores, emotions, it didn't make me feel anything, so I gave it a 2. In originality, a 2, and creativity, a 2 as well. Because, girl, you stole my line when you're talking about, like, the weight of love and loss. nah. And it's all just a bit cringe, isn't it? That's not to say mine was cringe though. In my rankings for emotions, I'd say 5 out of 10. Like, it's not great, but I did feel something. And this is me being very harsh. Originality, I gave like a 4 out of 10. Like, it's not that original. Like, the use of language is all right. Like, clearly the AI used the same thing as me. And creativity, I also gave it like a 4 out of 10. I liked sort of my sustained metaphor towards the end about like the weight of stuff and like passing that on to the other people. I thought that was a nice image, but it's not my best work. So, overall, in the most important round, I feel very gratified that I have won. And like I said, I think there really is a conversation to be had here about the human experiences that we can bring to poetry, which AI cannot. You know, AI doesn't know the feeling of, like, for example, starting a new job and feeling depressed, or like what it means to like go out with friends and like laugh so much that your stomach hurts. And those are the parts of ourselves that we bring to poetry. Poetry is all about connecting with humans. And if you haven't had those human experiences, can you truly connect to other people through writing? Who knows? Let's chat about it in the comments if you want. And if you like this, I think you will also like my little writing vlog where I try to write one poem every day for a week, or my more detailed video breakdown about my tips for being confident on stage and how I performed in front of 1,000 people at one of London's biggest venues. And as always, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will see you over there in the next video. Bye.